Sorry we're a few minutes late. We were having a little bit of technical challenges here, so I'm going to be improvising and reading off of my paper script at a distance. So we'll see how the show goes. But hope everybody's doing well. Last week's episode, if you remember, our show, for the very first time, we had live listener call-ins. And it was, I was really excited. I thought it was very fun. I was so appreciative that Al and Harriet took the time to pick up the phone, call us, answer our movie trivia. So thanks for playing along. I don't know where our phone is now, but if anybody does want to call and chit-chat with us or raise a question, have a comment, feel free at any time. We would love to hear from you. And the extension, just as a reminder, is 1526 in our studio. So if you dial 1526 and you want to talk, go for it. So let's talk about the weather. Yesterday's storm was one for the record books. They actually said that the New York area had more power outages, only second to Hurricane Sandy. So that's how widespread all the power outages are. So I know I live in New Jersey, as you know, and thankfully my power is still intact. We did have our lights flickering, we had some branches down, but literally one street right next to mine, their power is out for days. So it definitely was damaging. I saw we had a couple of big trees come down here on our campus, so they were removing it now, but thankfully nobody was impacted. So did you ever think about what that name, the name of this hurricane, which is really hard to pronounce, so I'm going to try not to butcher it. It's Isaias, that's how they say to pronounce it. It's the Spanish-Latin derivative of the Hebrew name Isaiah, which was a prophet in the Old Testament. So that's a bit of trivia. And in 2018, I'm going to mess up this name throughout, so sorry. So you know the name I'm talking about. That was ranked 510 among baby names, actually, in the United States. And it was at its peak popularity in 2009, when it ranked 481. So it didn't really move up very much on the ladder. And the characteristics of that name include dependable, solid, practical, hardworking, and industrious. And does anybody know how the storms get named? They are named by the World Meteorological Organization through a strict procedure that uses a list of male and female names, which are used on a 6-year rotation. The names of deadly and costly storms are retired from being used, which that makes sense. So I guess they must have retired Sandy, that's my guess. And after this storm, the next 3 names for our 2020 season are Josephine, Kyle, and Laura, which is a lot easier names to pronounce. So no storms today, thankfully. Today we have beautiful sunny skies. I hope everybody gets to get outside. It's a high of about 86 degrees, so it's definitely comfortable. So please enjoy and get outside. Our mailbox flag is still down, so how come nobody's writing to us? I'm sure you have a joke to share. I'm all out of jokes this week, so I really need new material. So please call. The extension to reach us to leave your comments is 2813. 2813. You could call. You could leave a joke. You know, I'm looking for material, or you could just share a question or a comment. So please do so. On today's menu, we're serving for lunch turkey with gravy, green beans, and vegetable bread stuffing, with mandarin oranges for dessert. Sounds yummy. For dinner, we're serving cream of mushroom soup to start, with spinach pie and pickled beet salad and apricots for dessert. Also sounds good, so hope you enjoy our meals today. Let's look back at this day in history. So today is August 5th. There was a lot of interesting things in history on this date. In 1891, the world's first traveler's check was issued by American Express. So do you remember, they don't really use traveler's checks, I don't think, anymore. Everybody uses credit cards or Venmo, but do you remember those Amex traveler's checks in the day? That was invented on August 5th. In 1912, Japan's first taxi cab service began, and that was in Tokyo. In 1914, the first electric traffic light was installed in the United States, and it was not I thought, okay, it would have happened here in New York. Nope. It happened on the corner of East 105th Street and Euclid Avenue, which was in Cleveland. So of all places, Cleveland got the first electric traffic light. In 1924, Little Orphan Annie, the comic strip, that was first published in the New York Daily News. And in 1926, Houdini stayed in a coffin underwater for 1.5 hours before escaping. Can you imagine being confined in this teeny little box for an hour and a half? That does not sound pleasant to me. In 1936, the American athlete Jesse Owens won the 200-meter race in world record time. And that was his 3rd gold medal at the Berlin Olympics. And there's more things on this date in history. In 1953, the movie From Here to Eternity, based on the book by James Jones, was released, and it won the Best Picture Academy Award the following year. Did anybody see that movie? I have never seen that movie, but that's the one I think where they have that famous beach scene, right? Where the lead actors are romantic on the beach. Am I remembering this wrong? I don't know. I think that's the movie. Tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. In 1957, American Bandstand premiered. Remember that? Do you remember who the host was? Dick Clark? Do you remember that? That was a really fun show. In 1966, the Beatles released its Yellow Submarine single. I told you there was like so much going on August 5th. In 1985, the establishment of a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was announced. In 2013, Major League Baseball banned New York Yankees infielder Alex Rodriguez for 211 games as a result of the biogenesis laboratory scandal. Do you remember that? That was very big news. Did you think that was an appropriate sentence? Should have gotten 211 games off? Definitely let us know what you think. Let's move on to birthdays. We have one Hebrew Home resident birthday. We had one yesterday, Nori, and I know David didn't have the list, so happy belated birthday to Nori. And for today, we also have one birthday, which is Leonard. So happy birthday to you, Leonard. We have 2 Hebrew Home staff birthdays today, Kenneth and Charlene, who both work in nursing. So happy birthday to you. And let's share your birthday horoscope, which says, as one of the zodiac's fixed signs, you rarely change your mind once it is made up. Is that a good thing? It will be over the coming year, as you will be one of the few who keep going while those around you are giving up. Go the distance. That's a pretty good horoscope. So that takes care of all of our housekeeping for today. So now we get to the good part, which is our special interview with my friend, Maya Sebastian, who is the administrator and case manager for our assisted living program. So welcome to Maya.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to see you. So for our viewers who don't know you yet, why don't you talk to us a little bit about what your role is here?
So, like Wendy said, I'm the administrator of our assisted living program. We're located on SP1, and it's a 35-bed, well, 33-bed technically, program, and we offer various needs for our residents and activities, and our residents don't need as much help as maybe they would need in a nursing home. So they just, it's anybody that needs a little help with medications, and a lot of the stuff that we do is, with our activities department, we just try to keep the residents involved. I know with COVID and quarantining, everybody's kind of stuck. So the ALP has actually been known for our initiative to have more programs that they can do individually and still feel like they're doing something rather than being stuck in their room all day.
So what's a typical day like then for an assisted living resident here?
So we've been doing like Zoom yoga, which is really good. And we have, 5 to 7 residents that come out every day for yoga. We offer these activity bags now, so they have like puzzle games and different things that they can do in their room. And we actually started encouraging our residents to, go out to the great lawn and just, they can go, but social distance and wear your mask and just practice safe, what's the term?
Distancing?
Yeah, safe distancing,
right.
And washing hands, things like that. But they're still able to use the facilities to capacity.
And now the assisted living folks, and they use all of the different community offerings at the Hebrew Home as well, right?
Yeah, they do most of them. A lot of our residents like to do things on their own too, so they'll call a cab and go to Target or, go out to Riverdale Avenue if they want to pick up food, things like that. So they'll do a lot of stuff on their own and also participate with the Hebrew Home program.
So how does somebody know that it's time to think about assisted living? You're living at home, what are the triggers and what should people think about?
I mean, some things that would trigger is if, you know, you might need a little bit more help with your daily living type of stuff, like bathing, getting dressed. And there is a fine line between how much help you need versus how little help you need to be applicable for the assisted living program. So people who need once in a while help getting ready in the morning, or once in a while help for bathing, you know, if you need a little help with taking your medication, we would be an appropriate program for you. So, I mean, I would say the assisted living program is that middle ground where you don't really need nursing home care, but you're not independent, you know? So if you're in that middle ground, we'd be an appropriate program.
So healthcare is in your family, your whole family, right? Your mom, your husband.
Yeah.
So did you tell us about like your journey here? Did you know you wanted to be in healthcare? Did you know you wanted to work with older adults?
No, I mean, because all of my family was in healthcare, I was like, I'm going to be the one that does business. I'm not going to go into healthcare because everybody else is doing it. And as Wendy, you might know, I'm the type that doesn't like to do what everybody else does. So I ended up going into business. So I got my bachelor's in business, and then I got an MBA. But when I was doing my MBA, it was around the time of the recession. So I just thought maybe it's a little bit wiser if I do a healthcare management certification, just so if the business world doesn't work out, I still have that healthcare background. But as I was in the business world, I kind of realized that's not for me, and I started working in a nursing home a little bit up north, and that's when I realized like this is what I want to do. You know, I like the people interaction versus sitting in front of a screen all day. You know, I like that there's more of a purpose to what I do versus, you know, there's more gratification in that. You know, there's more gratification in the immediate. When like you're helping a resident, and it could be the littlest thing, like helping them turn their computer on or hook up their Wi-Fi, but for them it's a big deal. You know, it's like you save their entire day. You know, so it's nice to be able to help and feel that you're making a difference in someone's life.
And making those connections. I feel like all of us who work here are just so grateful for the connections we've made with the residents.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think we would have had that experience anywhere else. So you must feel like that too with your.
I do. I feel like I'm always learning something from one of my residents, and I always go home and like, you wouldn't believe what my resident said to me. It was the wisest thing.
Right.
You know, and I share it with my husband and my mom. She was also a nurse's aide in a nursing home for 35 years. She just retired. So for her, you know, we like to share our stories of the crazy thing that our resident said to us today. And it's always, you know, it's always like, it's very moving for us to hear it, because I feel like where we are in life sometimes we just get so busy and we forget that, you know, sometimes when you talk to the residents, they've been through so much. And that's our hard times, they can tell you, I've been through that. And
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. It's okay. Things get better, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's a good view on life.
To our viewers, definitely I hope you don't ever lose sight that the staff here really value our time with you and all those lessons, like Maya said, that you share with us. We take it to heart. We take it home with us. We share it with our family members. It really has a huge impact on us. So when you're not working, I know you have a very, very busy life, a family life, and we have some pictures of your beautiful children to share. And it looks like we've got...
That's Christian. He's 2.5.
Born February 18th, right?
February 18th.
So tell us about Christian. What's his personality?
Oh my, Christian is our social butterfly. He will talk to everybody. You know, we have a neighbor that we just moved, so our neighbor lives down the street, and as soon as they come out for their walk, he doesn't even say anything. He's like, bye mama, and he leaves. He goes for a walk with them every day now. So he's pretty spunky, but he's also very stubborn. We have to...
He's an Aquarian.
Yeah, so we have to be very careful. It's a lot of, you can't tell Christian not to do something. It's like, Christian, how about we try this instead?
Well, it's also his age.
Yeah,
right?
It is. The terrible twos are so real. I realize that now. But he's so loving. He's so, like, every day when I come home, he's always like, hi, mama, and he'll run and give me this huge hug. You know, and with COVID, I'm like, wait, I gotta change.
Right.
You know, but he's just such a good kid, such a well-behaved kid, even the terrible twos. You could tell he has that, just exactly what I had prayed for when I was pregnant with him, to have a pure heart and be loving. Even with the attitude he gives, you can tell there's still always love.
But that's reflective of your parenting.
Thanks.
It's always that nature versus nurture debate.
Yeah.
But I think how you raise him and
it also helps that there's a balance, because I'm a lot stricter, whereas my husband is not. So we're always like good cop, bad cop.
Right.
Which helps, it really does, because sometimes I feel like if I have to be a little harsh with him, at least he's getting the love from my husband, so he knows he's still loved. Even though I have to yell at you, you're still loved.
And who does he spend his day with when you're at work?
My parents. So thankfully, I have both my parents there to help me with both my kids, which is such a relief, especially during quarantine when everything was closed. I didn't have to worry so much because they're home and they're there to watch them.
So are they good cop, bad cop? What's their...
No, they're always good cop. They spoil them. They give them everything they want.
That's what grandparents do. Right?
Yeah, which is fine.
And let's look at baby Hannah.
Yes,
oh
that is Hannah. She is almost 6 months. She'll be 6 months tomorrow now.
She's so cute. So what's
she's also an Aquarian. She is coming out of her shell, which I appreciate, that she is a lot more reserved than my son. It takes her a while, but once she gets used to you, she gives you these big smiles. And now she reaches for you. So she's at that stage where she's like, when you get home, it's like this, like, wants you to take her and stuff. And she is a chatty Cathy.
Really?
Yes. She will just sit there and talk and talk and talk. Who knows what she's saying, but she talks and talks.
So at 6 months old, what's it sound like?
It's just like, and I'm like, okay, Hannah, sure.
And what does she think of her big brother?
She gets very excited for him, actually. And he, because of the age, we have to kind of remind him to be gentle. He gets very, he wants to squeeze her all the time. But I think now at 6 months, she kind of realizes, so if he gets too close, she starts swatting at him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she knows to kind of back off a little bit, I need my space kind of thing. But she gets very excited. She always watches him. And now she's rolling over. So if I put her on one side, if Christian goes to the other side, she'll roll all the way to get to him, so she can still keep an eye on him. So it's a fun age. It's, everything's baby-proof, but it's a fun age.
So how did you prepare Christian for the new edition?
I mean, so my sister actually prepared him by getting him a baby doll.
Oh.
So I think it was actually my niece's baby doll, so she gave it to Christian, and we started teaching him gentle touch and how to put the baby to sleep, things like that. And even now, he sleeps with that baby. If he goes to bed, he's like, baby, baby, and he always has to have the baby with him. So he's really good. So as we put Hannah to bed, he'll put his baby to bed.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So it was a really good experience for him too, because that taught him, so that when Hannah came, it's not like, oh my God, what is this creature? He's like, oh, baby, Bob. And we say Bobbo for sleep, so he's like, Bobbo, baby.
Because it's definitely, that's got to be a huge adjustment, because he's had mommy and daddy.
And the grandparents.
And all to himself.
Yeah.
Oh my. All right, so let's move on. So one of the things that's amazing, Maya has endless talents, but one of the things that she's really amazing at is home decor. And I thought it would be fun for Maya to share some before and after pictures of things that she's done in her own home to give us inspiration about what we could do in our homes. So why don't you talk us through this first photo that we have?
Sure. So this one is the before and after of my master bedroom. Like I said, we just moved a few months ago, and everything was this beigey yellow kind of color in the house. So me and my husband always lean towards the blues and the grays.
Yes.
So I don't know if you can kind of tell in the picture, but there's a blue accent wall, and then the rest of the room is gray. And I did a lot of whites, white bedding, white rugs, to kind of brighten it up. Luckily, we have the big windows in the back, so a lot of light gets into the room too.
So, wait, can we just go back 1 second? So it's just interesting, the furniture location. So this first before picture,
They had it on the opposite side of the
right.
wall. So my reasoning for that is only because we want a TV in our bedroom.
Right.
And if I put the TV on the other wall, the sound would go into the house towards where my parents' room would be and where the kids' room would be. Versus that wall, that's an outside wall. So the sound, I don't know if you noticed, but some of the sound for the TVs is on the back of the TV.
Yeah.
So it shoots out in that direction. So actually at my old house, when we had it on the inside wall, you could hear the TV louder outside of the room than you could inside.
Really?
Yeah, so then we were like, let's put it on that side, that way when we watch TV at night, nobody else can hear it on the inside of the house.
That's so interesting. I never, ever in a million years would have thought about that. Wow. Okay. That's why you're the expert, Maya. Okay, let's look at the next picture.
So this is our kids' room. So Christian and Hannah share a room. So I just did, again, I did the accent wall with the teal colors for them. And I actually, the blanket on the chair, I actually knitted that myself.
You did?
Yeah, for Christian when I was pregnant with him. I had a lot of anxiety when I was pregnant with Christian because it was my first pregnancy. So my friends were like, you used to knit, why don't you start doing that again? So that was my anxiety project, which helped a lot. So I ended up doing that. So I was like, I want to keep the blanket, so I'll keep the teal color in there.
Nice.
I actually already had the curtains and things like that, so it worked out well. And the kids like it. It's good that they share a room, so it's easier because now they don't feel so scared to go in. If one goes to bed, the other one will go too.
They have each other.
Yeah, they're both in there.
But does Hannah wake up in the middle of the night and then wake up Christian?
No, so before I came back to work, I sleep trained both of them, so which took like 3 weeks and a lot of crying. But they both go to bed at 7:30, and nobody gets up till like 5 or 6 usually.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So Christian's not like running to sleep in your room anymore?
No. He knows to go to bed in there, and then when he gets up in the morning, he'll walk over and come to our room.
So what kind of tips do you have for our viewers? Are there any just general tips that you keep in mind in terms of maximizing your space?
Yeah,
or-
I mean, I think the main point is less is definitely more.
Okay.
A lot of times we tend to clutter our rooms, and I feel like that's the main source of anxiety as well. You have so much stuff around you.
Right.
But with the open windows, and I'm big on not covering my windows. So if you notice, I have like a sheer curtain in all the windows.
Yes.
Just because the sunlight, I just feel like it changes my whole mood.
Mm.
You know, when I get up in the morning, the room is so bright, so I don't want to hinder that. And the larger furniture you have, that actually cuts down on how much light is getting into the room. Because there's so many, it causes so many shadows. So you have to always buy your furniture based on the size of the room. So you want to buy shorter furniture, you want to buy lighter colors, you know, if you want to do a dark color, do it as an accent wall, or you can do like the dark throw pillows or a blanket versus doing the whole room that dark color.
Mm.
And one thing I learned, because I used to work at a paint store as an interior decorator.
Oh.
So one thing that they always said is always make sure your ceiling is white. Even if the other walls are a different color, keep the ceiling white, because that'll keep the room bright.
Oh. And molding? Should that be white?
Molding is always, it should be white just because it looks better, but now I know certain trends are you do a lighter color on the walls, like a gray wall, but then a black molding. You know, I've seen that done too. So you can kind of play with it, but you don't want it to be all one color. The little pops of color here and there, and the contrast really will make a big difference.
Are you available to come to my house? And do
Sure.
a makeover for my house, please?
I'd love to.
Thank you so much for sharing all this. Before you leave, we always ask our guests on Wendy Wednesdays 4 questions, which is, if you have a lucky number, what is it?
7.
Any story behind that, or?
No, I don't know why. Since I was a kid, I was always drawn to that number.
Okay.
So I always played in the lotto.
Did you ever hit big with 7?
I have.
Oh,
Not that
awesome.
big.
There you
I'm
go.
still working. So.
What's your favorite food?
It's more. It would have to be like home cooked Indian food. That's the one thing I realize I always go back to.
Okay. If you were not human, what animal would you be and why?
I would be a lion. And the why. So if you look up information about a lion, the lion's family is called their pride, and I feel
Right.
like that's very much, which you can, I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
and very much about my family and the close-knit circle that I have, which extends into family and friends. But the pride always sticks together, and I feel like that is how my life has turned out. My pride is always, my family is always together, kind of thing.
Last question. If they were making a Hollywood blockbuster movie about Maya Sebastian, what actress would star as you?
I would, it's probably a weird answer, but I would say Rebel Wilson.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because?
She's enough funny and sarcastic that'll cover me.
That's a good choice. She's great. Okay, all right, Maya, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Check out Maya in the hallway, say hello to her. She's down by the assisted living program, so make sure to say hi. So thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
So before we close today, we're just going to share with you some programming notes. Bible study, Rabbi Noah is very patient with us at Good Morning Hebrew Home and is kind enough to shift back from 11 to 11:15 because sometimes we go a little bit over on the show. So thanks to Rabbi Noah. So he will be starting at 11:15 his Bible study. At 1:30 we have Wellness with Deborah. At 2:30 we have our concert with Larry. Always great to see that. And we'll do a rebroadcast of the show at 6:30. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Please don't forget to drop us a note or give us a call if you'd like to share a question or a comment. You know, we'd always like to hear from you. So enjoy the day, and thanks for spending some time with us.